It's the Wrestling Caucus. I'm Peter A.
I'm Smelly Ariaga.
And today we're going to talk about the very long AEW Revolution from LA, the Crypto.com arena. Now, this show was, for the most part, pretty good. However, the main issue with this show to me was the time that was given to some matches. And I noticed the duration of a lot of these matches. Some were closing in on 20 minutes, and the last three were almost a half hour. I think that's kind of outrageous. I think only a handful of matches should get time, especially ones with stars and ones with storylines that have been built up for a long period of time. Am I crazy for thinking this?
No, because honestly, this isn't really the first time a pay-per-view like this has happened. It's kind of often they tend to have shows run long, but this felt a little different only because it feels like every other match wanted to be way too goddamn long. Like even there was a match that was 10 minutes on the show that should not have been 10 minutes for different reasons. Uh but yeah, it's like even short, no matter how long the match, all the different lengths of matches in the show all felt long. Like it's very weird.
It seems like a lot of these matches on the show were made for us to think that it was the main event because
Yeah.
they're all given so much time. And the only again, the only matches that deserve time are the main event or some matches with stars or a special attraction type of thing. That's it. If you're on the undercard, you're supporting the main event. So you should not be given so much time. And also, you're going to burn out the crowd, which is what happened last night. That's what happened. If most of your matches are going long, especially for the first half of the show, you are going to burn out the crowd, and that's exactly what happened.
And that's the thing, like it's not even just the length for me, like because there are a lot of we've seen hour long matches that did not feel like an hour. Like MJF and Osprey didn't feel like an hour. That was great. But this there are shows here that there are matches here that this felt like a play in which every scene felt like it had to be as long and as like just overdone as possible.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
like everything needed to be focused on when that's not that shouldn't be the case.
And also, well, also in the sense that like it's just like a lot of matches here on the show, just they just kept putting stuff in. It was just a bunch of stuff happening.
Yeah, yeah. All
Ugh.
right. The main card, 9 matches total, right? Let's start here. What matches, or it could just be one, that you felt should have ended sooner?
Gee, where do I freaking start? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The tag match, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin versus I'm gonna call them the Hogan Boys because I do not care for those guys at all. I have been seeing them for a while, but it's just I don't see it. I get they get pops, but I can't like it. Literally, Lashley and Shelton Benjamin should have creamed these guys. This should not have gone this should not have gone past 5 minutes. You told me it was like what 9 or 10.
Yeah, it was right. It was almost 9.
It shouldn't have been that long. Like Lashley and I love Lashley and Benjamin. I love them, but it's just like it. They didn't need to give the other like it shouldn't have taken this long to beat those guys. This kind of reminds me of when I remember when Asuka debuted on Raw and went like with she debuted with Emma, and I liked Emma. I liked her. And she was a good worker, but Asuka should have creamed her in like a second. I remember a week later, she had the match that she should have had with like Dana Brooke. Like it was like 2 seconds. She put her in an armbar in like the coolest way, and like it was like everyone shocked everyone. It showed you like this person's a killer. Like like Lashley and Shelton are have been presented as killers. Why the hell did it take 10 minutes for a bunch of killers to beat a bunch of Hulk Hogan knockoffs? Why? Who weren't even that. I don't know. I don't know. It went way too long for me.
Yeah, I do agree with you in a vacuum, but I do think there were worse offenders of what you're talking about on this card.
Oh, way worse.
Yeah,
Way worse.
because the crowd, yeah, right, right. So like the crowd loves when the Hurt Business just hurts people and runs over people. To me, this match should have been like 5 minutes and they just run over them. They get very little offense. Then they use that time to set up their next program, like another babyface team comes out or whatever, and you have the
Yeah.
next program. But that didn't happen here. It was just it happened, a match happened, and it was over. That's really what happened here. But this is the number one offender of the matches that went way too long, in my opinion. And it's a match that I liked. Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher in the cage. This went 29 minutes. This should have went 19 minutes because there was no title on the line. It was not the main event, and it's a cage match, a bloody one at that. You don't need that much time for a cage. The only time you'll ever need that much time, if it's a title match and it's the main event of a major show. Now, I do think this match needed some time because this has been a program that's been building up for months. But 29 minutes when this match started at like 11 o'clock, no thank you. You didn't need to go a half hour, especially there was tons of spots where it could have ended at the peak when the crowd was most engaged. They didn't go home. They didn't finish. They
Yo,
kept going.
like Will Ospreay could have pulled out a shotgun and blasted Kyle Fletcher out of the cage, and he would have kicked out of that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like, and you can say that for a lot of matches on the show. Like, uh, oh my god, it's like the Monet's match. It was like just like this one. They were doing some deadly moves that you think, okay, it has to be over now, right? They just jumped off the freaking whatever. Like the guy's dead. Like what the hell? What more can you? And then, but even after that, the guy who be dead on the floor, Fletcher or Osprey, will get like killed, and they'll get right back up, like nothing happened. And like, listen, like, is it any debate anymore? The no selling problem here, the no selling problem in this company. And I know you see a lot in wrestling. I know you see a lot in wrestling, but it's like these guys are trying to be like the Michael Jordan of we don't sell shit, nothing.
I don't think selling was a problem in this match. I think the problem was they didn't know when the peak was, when to like go home. They just kept doing stuff after it went past the expiration date. To me, I don't think they should have done the spot at all, but the Spanish fly off the top should have been over.
How the hell
That's
did
it.
that not
That should
like?
have been the finish.
Jesus.
What else? He had barbed wire too.
Oh yeah, he pulled a hangman. Great.
Dude, come on,
Oh my
guys. If you're
god.
gonna get bloody, there's gotta be a peak. There's gotta be a violent peak, a dangerous violent peak, and then that's it. Cody and Wardlow. Why was that match so great? Because it went the right amount of time. No other match on that episode of Dynamite went equal or greater past that time. And the finish was perfect.
Yeah.
Cody did the moonsault off the top rope. That was
And,
it. That's how you
and
beat a big guy. It was
yeah, and they
simple.
built to that. They
Yes.
built. There was like like somewhat of a structure. The structure. There was no structure here. It was just like I'm gonna let you hit me. You're gonna let me hit you, and I'm gonna do a deadly move on you, and then you're gonna do a deadly move on me, and then we're gonna just keep freaking doing that until everyone's bored or until like we literally I don't know. I just can't. Have seen this before too. Like I think I remember I liked their match, the match they had before this better than this. I think they. When was the last time these two wrestled before this again?
They wrestle at World's End, But the match I liked the best was the Full Gear match.
That was
Now that
post
match,
shaving, Fletcher shaving his head, right?
yes.
Okay.
The problem with the Full Gear match was a similar problem to the cage match. They missed the peak. They had a peak and they kept going. Same issue here.
They want to get their shit in.
Yeah,
Like
that
that's
was a
it.
common thread throughout this whole show.
It's yeah. You think Brian Cage freaking produced this show?
Okay, you brought up the Mercedes match, right? Now, I want to talk about matches that could possibly be removed from this card. And I think this was it. This match went almost 20 minutes long, and I get it. Mercedes is a star. She's very recognizable. You got over 10,000 people in this arena. You don't want to have just one women's match on the show. You have two major women's titles. I get getting both on the card. But the easiest solution was not to get a stardom person. It was to get someone on your promotion full time that's getting over. A top babyface, a babyface that's it's getting over. Harley Cameron. They should have ran that match back from Grand Slam, Australia.
Yeah, how is that not the match? She literally made fun of her with a puppet for weeks, and the puppet was more entertaining than her on the mic, by the way. But that's a whole nother thing. But I can't. I, like you literally, yeah, it's all the same problems I had with this match. I literally had with the Osprey and Fletcher match, except this didn't have blood in a cage. It was still, but still had the same problems.
It
Like,
was just stuff happening. Nothing really looked good.
oh, well, the only thing, I mean, I do feel bad for Monet's jaw. Remember that
Yeah.
freaking kick to the jaw? Like, yo, I don't know, man. If I were her, I'd be pissed because she did not look happy. Like, she did not. I don't know. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
Momo was hurt after this match too. So I don't know. It's a match I didn't really care about going into it, and there was a lot of matches on the card that were like their third match in the program. They were finishing off a story. This was just another match. Now, if this was Forbidden Door or Wrestle Dynasty or something like that, totally cool. But this show was already fully loaded. We didn't need this match. And if you're gonna have a TBS title match, put Harley Cameron or someone else that's starting to get over, so we could start to make stars here. You know what I mean?
Uh, I don't know. I feel like a long time ago, I felt like making stars stopped being the point around. I don't know with them. It's just they kind of just put stuff out there. Like I
But the
don't know.
problem is they're doing that. They're doing that. They're just not. In this case, in some parts of this card, they just forgot about that. But I watched the show, and they're starting to get people over. People are starting to get over. But the thing is, one of AEW's problems over the last couple of years is that they have a hard time keeping up momentum on certain people that are not already established, right? Like Mercedes or Punk when he was here, Brian Danielson when he was here, even Adam Cole. That's a whole nother conversation. But guys and girls that were already ready made, they just kind of left alone because, again, they are who they are. But there are certain people that need a lot more attention, or else the flame is going to go out quicker because they're not already established. You know what I
Or like,
mean?
and you either have that, or you either have sometimes where like someone is pushed to the moon, but they don't. It's usually sometimes they just push the wrong person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I was talking to you about this yesterday. How like, what Jeff Jarrett's like, he spent like those 2 weeks having those promos with Max about trying to like challenge for the world title or something like, or like at least challenging Max for a shot at the world title or something.
Yeah.
And like, he had all those stupid jokes about his girlfriend, all these dumb zingers. And then you have Dustin Rhodes cut one promo that was more interesting than any of that. And I'm like, maybe they should have put the ball around this. If they wanted to push an older wrestler to get one more shot at the title. Maybe they should have went with Dustin Rhodes. Like, so, I don't know. Sometimes it's like they either like don't push the right person or they push the wrong person. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's not really relevant in this case for this show. It's not like the wrong person, wrong people are in their spots, but um, Mercedes and Momo Watanabe didn't need to be on this particular show. But is there any match on this card that you would have just removed completely?
Gee, where do I start? There's slim. There's a lot. There's a lot of choices. The main event, the world title or lack of a world championship match. I mean the fucking cool. I say this. I think I've said this before, but it's just sad. Like one of the last things in this company that I genuinely like enjoy is the fact that they have an amazing looking world title belt that we never see anymore. So it doesn't even feel like the world champion is the world champion. Like, forget what I think about John Moxley's wrestling matches now, which all are just no sell fest. Like, I, this match was a basic ass match. Like, I remember we were talking last time about like the different how like you can't just have a wrestling match for certain feuds. You need like some sort of stipulation sometimes.
Yeah,
Maybe this slow ass like I'm all for slow methodical matches sometimes, but this wasn't even done well. And this also followed a cage match where the two guys did everything but shoot each other.
it started at 11:30 p.m.
Like, and here's the thing. Maybe if all the basic slow methodical stuff that Moxley and Edge were doing, like Edge was trying. Like there was a part in that main event where Edge gave Moxley his Impaler DDT and Edge was on the floor selling it, and Moxley was on one knee, like, as if like he dinged his head on a wall. Like this guy gave you a DDT, and he's selling his own move more than you are, and you received the DDT. Do you think like does he think he's like Brock Lesnar or something? Brock Lesnar never. Brock Lesnar sold for people. Even Brock Lesnar sold for people. I don't know. You're making me give Brock credit.
As much as I don't like the Death Riders presentation, I don't like Moxley's character. I don't like the idea that his character doesn't really sell. Like a character that kind of makes sense for that to be the case is a few people, Will Hobbs or Big Bill, someone like that, or Samoa Joe, someone along those lines that has that physical presence. Moxley's trying very hard, but he's just not that guy. But I will argue that Edge, Cope, whatever you want to call him, and
Oh
Mox
yeah,
should
my
have been on
bad.
this show.
Cope.
Yeah, because they're stars, right? They should be on the show. They shouldn't have went, as long as they did for a match that didn't really have a stipulation. It was like it wasn't 11:30 p.m. and the crowd wasn't there for 5 hours. But here's a match I think we both agree that should have been removed from this show, and you probably just forgot about it because how can you remember it? And that's I think you know what I'm gonna say. Okada and Brody King. This should not have been on this show at all, and it was just a normal. It was a collision match. It wasn't even anything special.
And I like Brody King too. I
Me
do like
too. I
him.
like Okada as well, but
I mean,
this wasn't it. This wasn't their
they've
night.
to me they ruined Okada. I think it's safe for me to say that now that they really ruined him. Like his aura to me is just not there anymore. And like it's on top of that, it's just like this match just felt like nothing. I remember I used my first impression of Okada and like now. I remember when you first showed me Okada when he wrestled Omega, and I'm like, this guy, if he comes to America, it's gonna be sick. If he's like, if it's done well, like, and if you asked me back then if I would ever watch an Okada match and be like just like not care, I would call you crazy because like this guy's nuts. And now it's like, wow, I don't, wow, like oh my god, I don't know if he just phoned it in or I don't know if they it's just the booking. It's just that the way they've booked him has just been that bad. I don't know. Like I didn't even
Yeah,
care that he was a champion. I didn't even care that this was for a title.
I think it's probably the latter. Um, I want to talk about Okada in a sec, but first, okay, Hangman and Max right? Arguably, they have one of the best matches on the show. They had the right amount of time, and it was fine. Now, where do you think Hangman goes after this? You think he goes after Moxley? You think he beats Moxley?
Uh, if there's anybody, if there's anyone I don't want to be world champion again, it's Hangman Page. But I guess he just beat a former world champion. So if we're going by logic, which if we're going by some logic here, yeah, sure, you'd be again in the running for a world title. I'm really not hankering for that. I don't know. I guess they're probably gonna give him a world title shot now that he beat a former world champion. Or maybe he's just gonna look for someone else to be really angry at and just give a big frowny face at. I don't know. I don't really know what's next for him, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, me either. I could see AEW wanting Hangman to destroy the Death Riders. I think that's what a lot of fans are probably thinking as well. Um, it's not like he's not getting positive, attention from the crowd. He's getting really good reactions. Um, but I honestly think maybe we get Kenny and Hangman again. I could see that happening.
Kenny versus Hangman, like,
Yeah, I could see them running that back
uh,
just to get
like
people to come to, the AEW's issue the last few years has been attendance, right? So if you want a match that is going to probably bring in, some, sell some tickets, I think that's a match.
I mean, that's something they would do. It's just like, oh, let's wrestle each other, and then after they wrestle each other, hey, let's be a team again, so we can save the company that you almost ruined. But anyway, yeah, I guess people did like him as a team. That was actually the last time I enjoyed watching Hangman was when he was teaming with Omega. And
I would say that the Hurt Business is getting over his babyface.
yeah,
So
yeah.
unless you turn Hangman and Kenny heel, which you shouldn't do at all right now, that's the only reason I see them getting back together. But also, the Young Bucks can come back and they can run that
Oh,
program
great.
back as well. You could do that. You could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three, but the thing is, the problem is like three out of the four people in that feud are people I just don't want to see anymore. Like I love Omega. I would like Omega to be world. I would like Omega to challenge for the world championship.
Yeah.
Him,
Yeah.
him. If there's anyone in the only person in the elite that I want to see ever touch the world title again is Kenny Omega. Like that's how I don't know. That's how I feel.
We'll talk about Kenny and Okada in a second. But Toni Storm, right? She vanquished Mariah May. What do you think is next for her?
Tony Storm.
Yeah. Who do you think is her next opponent?
Uh, they could finally maybe unify the women's title and the TBS title.
They're not going to do that.
No,
And they shouldn't.
I don't. Honestly, I don't know. I think the only other person I would think right now they have is on. Well, the only other person I think right now they have on who's on Tony's level is probably either like Thunder Rosa, which
She's kind of cold now, but
well, that's not her.
in
That's
a
not her
theory,
fault. Yeah, that's not
in
like
theory, sure, but she's cold now unless they reheat her.
no, and the thing is, like, but the reason why I don't think it's gonna happen with Thunder Rose, it's not because of her. I think it's because I don't know. She seems to not be having the best luck over there when it comes to just how she's presented. It seems like someone there doesn't like her. I don't know. I don't know, but like, I would like to see Thunder Rose. She's I actually like watching her wrestle, like when she's not being humiliated. Uh, Statlander, but they they seem if they want to do something with Statlander, because I love watching Statlander. So yeah, either Statlander or Thunder Rosa, I would love to see wrestle Tony Storm, like
Yeah,
for
I
the world
guess
title.
Statlander to me is probably a good option because she's been getting a lot of attention. She's been getting over recently, so I could see that. But Tony is a babyface. You could do a babyface match. Nothing wrong with that for at least a pay-per-view or two. But on the heel side, they're a little light unless they turn someone.
I just feel like someone turns heel every other week, so he can just turn someone heel. I mean, and Megan Bayne is someone I feel like that it could be in the running for a championship too. Uh,
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know if she's.
maybe
I
the
don't think she's
TBS,
ready.
maybe the TBS title. Oh, look, I mean,
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm just going by like the talent pool in AEW in terms of people who are in AEW.
You
Like,
could do Britt Baker, but I don't really know what's up with her.
do you want to see Britt Baker wrestle again?
That's a separate conversation.
like,
I'm just saying things that would kind of make sense and would kind of like sell tickets. Who I want to see, if who I'd want to see, I'd want to see Willow as either champion.
oh yeah, you mean that? Yeah, like like the person that people actually like watching. Yeah, I would like to see
Yeah,
her too. I
they've
love
been
Willow,
they've been utilizing her, because they have she has a little thing with Marina Shafir, so it's possible
and that's
that
one
she could
person
be
I don't
next.
want to see her wrestle with. But yeah, yeah, like logically for the story, yeah, like a
Yeah.
match between them is down the line.
So to me, the next, honestly, at least on the TBS championship side, I'd do Willow and Mercedes again, and Willow beats Mercedes. You could do that, even though Harley Cameron's kind of it right now. She's kind of the hottest of those crop of people we were talking about. But uh, that's what I want to see.
Yeah,
I don't
you
know if
see,
that's gonna
yeah,
happen.
Harley Cameron can beat Monet. Like, you see, you and I are trying to think about this logically. You know what I'm saying? I think that like we're thinking about this like logical, like people with brains. Um, like Harley Cameron could be a good competitor for Monet for the TBS title, and I think a Statlander or a Willow should challenge for the world title.
Yeah,
Like, because Mariah May, like that was like one of the best possible opponents for Toni Storm. Like,
absolutely. And they
oh
built
my
that
God,
up for like a year. This is what long
yeah.
term booking gets you.
Yeah.
Stars.
Hey, maybe Mariah May can take the TBS title from Monet, and someone else they can fight Tony for the world title.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
Not mad at that at all.
By the way, like I don't know if you were gonna get to this, but Mariah May and Tony Storm, I that was this is one of the matches I actually enjoyed on the card. Like I really did enjoy it. At least they actually built to something here during this is like the one stipulation match on this card, I think, that actually tried to build to something.
Yes. And I think they should have taken time from a handful of these matches and put it into that match because the fact that they
Yes.
got 12 minutes and this is like their trilogy and this has been a long-term story, it's a shame. Yeah, it was a hardcore match and those type of matches you want to keep short. But that match needed a little bit more time. Just a
Yo,
little bit.
I straight up thought because if this match had more time, because like I can tell they wanted more time too, because like I straight up thought there was one point where they brought out buckets of broken glass bottles, which I'm really happy wasn't real. I hope not. Um, they brought out buckets of broken glass in their corners, and they took out tape, and they were taping one of their hands. I thought they were each taping both hands, and they were dipping their fists into the broken glass. And I was asking you, I'm like, are they about to have an ECW Taipei death match right now? Like,
Which would be awesome.
which they start squabbling up with like broken glass, like tape them. But the thing is, when I saw that they both each only had one hand taped up, I thought, okay, this spot's not gonna last too long. I was like, wow. I was like, wow, they're really going for something here. But no, but that was still like the most. That match felt so quick. Like like it didn't feel. It didn't. I didn't feel like it dragged. It was like one of the few matches on the card.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a track because it was too quick.
Yeah, like for all the crap I give a lot of these AEW pay-per-views, Tony Storm has always just done has always been a part of like at least having a logical, somewhat like a mostly logical and effective match. Like that adds to their story, that actually fuels her stories.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I give her credit for that.
Yeah, one of the biggest issues with AEW is no real long-term storytelling, but the Tony Storm Mariah May thing is a perfect example of, AEW doing it, even though they should do more of that.
I think they could have done without the whole memory loss thing or the fake memory loss. Remember when she pretended to be
100%. Yeah, that was kind of wacky. Very WWF 1999. Yeah, we
Oh
didn't we
yeah.
didn't need that. Um, Swerve. You think he beats Moxley?
Yeah, look, listen. And
Well, two
anyone
different things. Would we want Swerve to beat Moxley? Yes. Do you think it's going to actually happen? If you ask me,
no.
no.
No, like
So
look,
yeah,
because he's over. Like they don't like people who are over. They want to push the guys who are like, why? Like you look at like why this guy? But Swerve is if I would just like to see somebody hold the fucking world title again, actually hold it, and like say I'm a champion. But instead now Moxley is the world championship. Remember? You remember he is the world heavyweight championship. We have to remember that.
my goodness.
Jesus Christ.
I think it'd be cool for Dynasty if Swerve wins the world championship the second time in a row at Dynasty. He repeats it. He won it last year and he won it this year. I think that would be awesome.
I mean,
It'd be a
hey,
great story to tell.
that would make sense.
Yeah, it'd
That
be
would make
really cool.
sense.
Like Max wins the he won the diamond ring every year. This year again, Swerve wins main events Dynasty again and wins the world title again. I think that's a wonderful story to tell.
That would be cool.
Yep,
I guess like as soon as you went up, I remember last night. As soon as you like walked up, as soon as you like, all right, okay, I'm done with the show. Swerve jumped off the balcony.
that's awesome.
The camera looked up. It was like that moment with Sting. Like the camera looked up. It was just Swerve was just there, and he just jumped on Moxley.
Perfect,
That was better than the
perfect.
entire match. People were more happy to see that than the entire match that took place.
Absolutely. Okay, Kenny Omega and Okada. Now, I do agree with you regarding Okada that his presentation in AEW has sucked. It's almost like Okada's character is a parody of what he thinks American wrestlers are.
He just says the B word.
Yeah, because when you well, listen, when you watch American wrestling, especially unfortunately, more so on the women's side, the one thing they call each other, they just call each other bitches, and that's terrible. And I think Okada's kind of making fun of that in a way, but all in all,
This wasn't
it's a
his
shitty.
idea. This wasn't
No,
his idea. Yeah, but I know what you mean.
I think he's not presented. He should be presented like the Hurt Business is, straight up killer. And when Kenny returned at World's End and he had that face to face with Okada, I'm thinking that was the first time in a while where I felt that AEW was finally, since Punk left and Bryan Danielson is no longer full time, that they have something of marquee value. When done right, they really need to reset Okada because him and Kenny at All In, that could be huge. That could be a big deal for them.
If they only involve those two, that would be great. But the thing on paper, that would be lovely. Do I believe that they're going to do something that simple? No. I think they're going to go with something much more convoluted and silly. I think that seems to be their fucking style. You remember the first All In main event with Adam Cole and MJF, something that should have been a layup? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, next year's the main event after that, the year after that was better because it was Danielson was involved, but I don't know. Yeah, I would love to see Okada, and I would love to see an Okada taken seriously and Omega again. I would like to see that. I would if they let it happen. I would love to see that.
Yeah, that's the one thing that makes sense, big picture wise and ticket sales wise, pay per view buys wise. Yeah, that's the biggest
Nah,
match they could possibly do now.
but realistically, it's probably going to be a thing where like it's going to be Moxley bringing the briefcase to the ring and on a table, and they're going to play that game where like they put the knife between their fingers, and
Yeah.
whoever doesn't lose a finger is the world champion.
No, here's what they'll do. They'll do what WCW did in the dying days. They'll have did they put it they put the world title in boxes. And
Oh
whoever buys the
yeah.
box, yeah. Or they can do what TNA did and do a feast or fired. I think if you I forgot the scenario. If you pick the right briefcase, you're either you get a world title shot or you get fired. I think that was the concept.
Wow. Oh
It
yeah,
was
they did
wacky.
do that.
Yeah. Or you do a
Yo.
Slammiversary thing. Not Slammer. You do King of the Mountain, but the titles in the you have to take Moxie's briefcase, crack open the suitcase, bring the belt, and then hang up the belt. You could do that.
Or you could do
They
like
could
a
do
reverse
that.
battle royal. But your
Yeah.
idea seems like
Why
something
not?
your idea seems more stupid. So I think that's what they're gonna do.
I'd go with a reverse battle royal.
They're gonna do something that's gonna make everyone go, why? What the like why?
Yeah.
What's wrong with just
Instead of fire Russo, it's fire Tony Khan or something.
yeah. Jesus. I mean,
Oh man, the possibilities, endless amounts of possibilities.
Jesus, it's great. Everything's great.
Everything's great.
Everybody's having a good time.
Do you think the show is worth 49.99?
Hell no. I feel bad that you even had to pay for half of it. To be honest with you. No.
Was it worth
Think about it.
25 bucks at least?
I think it's worth it if like if you're gonna watch the show at Max and pay for Max every month, you should get access to the pay-per-views. That's what I think it's worth. Like this specifically. But
Yeah.
like I would pay I would pay like $60 for a live ticket to a wrestling show. Like, because
Yeah, I agree.
every time we've seen AEW live, no matter like we've seen like great AEW shows live and not so great AEW shows live, but it's always fun. So yeah, I would have used the money that we paid for that pay-per-view to go to a live show. Do I think we would have enjoyed this live if we were there? I'm sure the live experience would have been great, but like looking back after, yeah, we would probably still feel the same way. We probably would have been falling asleep in our seats. We don't. Who
Yeah,
knows?
exactly. You know what? Um, do I think the show is worth 49.99? Let me think. I didn't feel like I got ripped off. Let's say that. But at the same time, I don't think it was full. It wasn't really fully worth 49.99, but I don't feel like I got ripped off because I'm not buying these pay-per-views every month.
Yeah, I mean,
So long answer, sure. But that's pretty. I know it sounds kind of middle of the road, but it
I
wasn't
mean,
clear. It wasn't. No pay-per-views were 4.99, but
no.
this was not. I didn't feel totally ripped off because it wasn't a bad show. It wasn't like an overwhelmingly amazing show. I thought it was fine. I don't know. I guess sure is the only
I don't
sure.
know, like
That's it.
me saying like if I only like 3 out of the 9 matches of the card, I mean, I don't know. It it's nice that like yes that people are getting paid, but at the same time it's like Jesus Christ, like $50 every month. I always say this, it's ridiculous. Like every month, like when they had 4 shows a year, $50 for a pay per view, sure, cool. Do we have like 4 shows a year and like but a show every month, I don't know. But you're right. We don't always pay for these every month. It's ridiculous. It's nuts. Like no show should be worth like $50 a month. Ugh.
I wouldn't necessarily recommend people get the replay. Because there's no match that I can say like go out of your way to see. Even the matches that were good, but there was nothing like you should go out of your way to see, in my opinion.
Oh, so like so you kind of think that like it was worth the watch, but not worth the replay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I see that. I can see that. Like it was fun, like to like watch everything unfold. At least, especially like some things on the pre-show, watching them unfold. Like I remember I joked saying like, "Oh yay, let's prepare for the next random 8 man." And what was next literally was an 8 man was a random 8 man tag. Like it's crazy. Jesus Christ. Oh man. At
Man.
least they took their t-shirts off during that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. It's the Wrestling Caucus. I'm Peter A.
I'm Smiley Ariaga.
And it is WrestleMania season, so we'll be back next month to preview and recap WrestleMania from Vegas. Make sure you are subscribed to the Wrestling Caucus wherever you get your podcast. Links are in the description. You can follow us on the socials as well. Later days.